Hey YouTube, it is a very crisp 1 AM in the morning here in the UK, so please just bear with me. Just enjoy nice, relaxing, somewhat crackly voice, touch delight. If my voice does go out in this video, just know that I'm with you in spirit. So what happened? Well, I was streaming today to a very small audience, just having a bit of fun with you guys, and then I was notified that trees were mentioned. Oh baby. You guys know how I feel about trees. I am in it for the trees. I love the trees. Look at this footage in the background. Look at this redwood. This is the second time we have seen redwoods recently. And the first time we saw redwoods, everyone, when that Barry video came out, was like, look at Barry. Look at my glorious king. No. Not on this channel. On this channel, we hyperfixated on redwood trees. And I know that most of you didn't watch that video. So you'd better go back through my past videos, find that video on trees. But let's just start right at the very beginning. So, Alstein decided to make a little comment to Dondi saying, you know how there are allegedly dying crabs due to chemicals in water, making the freaking crabs big? What if such a thing as how Megalania came to be, and it wasn't an intentional addition to the island? It was just an average monitor lizard that was affected by whatever chemicals made the crabs big. Which Dondi just posts a little gif of just, yeah, 100% buddy, 100%. At least that's the way that I view it. But now, lock it, just strap in, okay? Midkill says, hey, can I get some mangrove leeks? Which Dondi says, working in a different biome at the moment. Spoilers, by the way, spoilers. In case you guys haven't seen the background footage, spoilers. And then someone says, people then start guessing what the biome was. And someone says, a red biome. Which Don says, almost. Oh, we're so close. Say it, Dondi. Just say the word, Dondi. Say the words. Right? I can't keep going for this long. So Lima then says, Don, how is your Kingdom Come playthrough going? Had any progress off stream? Which Dondi says, I haven't touched it since last stream, being too busy. This was a game that Dondi was playing on the stream. It's actually kind of fun to watch. Hope you to see more in the future. Which Don says Henry, the character that he has in that game, can stay hungry. Big trees are more fun. So now we have a little bit more of the crumbles that go towards it. We know the trees are red. We know it's a new biome. And we know that the trees are big. What could this possibly mean? Who knows? I'm gonna stop beating around the bush. Obviously, it's a redwood biome, right? And a bunch of people, so proud of you guys, including Rumpelstiltskin, lore connoisseur himself. They started talking about the arrow burst concept, and you guys watching this video are going to be like, Turk, what are these trees? But those of you, the real ones, like the 1,300 of you who watched me go insane talking about trees, and just briefly introducing you guys to the concepts of messed up trees in the Isle, you guys know exactly what this image is, and you guys should educate the people down below. It is a beautiful biome. Just in this footage here, what we see is we have a Troodos that is first of all just sitting in a redwood tree. Whether or not we get a sort of interaction with the redwood trees when they actually release is of course unknown, as everything is just we are finding out as Dondi is showing us. If we are able to do this in the trees, I will be so happy. If there will be little like entrances into the key trees to make little like burrow holes, goodness gracious me, I'll be so entertained. I'll be amazed. But that's not all. There's more. Once we exit out the tree, we'll begin to notice a few little things. For one, the ground textures on the floor seem a lot different. So right now they feel a little bit more compressed. But in this little snippet that Dondi showed here, the ground texture looks so nice. In fact, all of the textures look nice. To the point where the rock, by the way, in this image, that's not the same rock we have in game, believe it or not. That's not the same rock, I'm fairly sure. Someone show me that rock in Gateway right now. That's a different rock. I'm not insane, you're insane. What does this mean? We know the developers have been going through all of their assets and moving from the store-bought assets all the way to their own custom-made assets, all the way from the foliage to eventually the AI. They mentioned the AI balls species being changed to their own custom model, and now we have this tree. And not the tree, The Rock, right? Dwayne The Rock in the Isle, boom, confirmed. Expose, Dondi exposed, right? But bear my excitement here, right? The foliage on the ground, beautiful, tasty. But you notice the way that everything feels like it's rendered differently. There's a different feel in this video that we haven't seen in Gateway, being a more tropical island. This place just feels temperate. It feels like home. The lighting itself feels different. The way the animal looks just feels different. There's something about this. Something's been captured in this trailer. And some of you are like, but you're glazing. Shut up. I'm allowed to be happy. I'm allowed to be happy. This is beautiful. I've watched this multiple times already. If we can get lighting like this into Gateway, I'll be so happy. Just the texture quality, the way the light goes through, the god rays, the way it doesn't even feel too overexposed. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. Obviously, there are a few things that aren't included in this. We don't really see much physics foliage going around. But this entire biome is just amazing. And I just had to tip my hat and say, yeah, Dondi, like what we have seen so far of this biome, it is beautiful. This is genuinely amazing. I love it. I honestly love it. Just more of this, and I will die a happy man. It's insane. But there's more news. I know, but Turk, how can there be more news? There always is more news. So Salty, a name that I'm quite familiar with, says, it's been so long since last I've seen my son lost to this monster, to this man behind the slaughter. Since we've heard from Jace, what's he up to? Which Pump Packet said, he's chasing around, all sorts of map wizardry, as usual. But Aircrow says, what are you manifesting, Don? And Don says, fighting the death of a map with technical depth that has been alive since UB4. This has been a conversation that's been at the back of my mind for quite a while. And it's that, fair enough, when we have these very big updates, like big Trike update that comes with a whole bunch of other stuff, and big Rex update that comes with a whole bunch of other stuff, and Aloe, it's fair enough to an extent that we have this 2-week period, or even longer in some cases, where the gateway map just breaks. It just breaks, and the developers just have to go through this painstaking process of getting it working again. And at least in my opinion, we're starting to reach the legacy phase with the gateway map, where we're past the honeymoon phase now. You know what I mean? The limitations of the map are starting to rear their head. And if what Kissen said is correct, in which Quetz is going to be a good indicator for how fast new content releases are going to come out, due to the fact that Quetz uses Trandon as its base, and Para uses Maya, and Spino will be using Barry, and Kentra will be using Stego. We could be getting these content releases quite rapidly. I say rapidly, but you know what I mean. Meaning that if we are spending up to 2 weeks getting the gateway map working from the Ostro Horde test, and then for the Barry Horde test, and then for the Kentra Horde test, and then for the Quetz Horde test, that's 8 weeks. I'm just throwing numbers out there just to give you guys like a visual idea. Don't go into the R Discord and be like, Turk said it takes 2 weeks to fix gateway. Like, no, I'm just saying visual demonstration for you guys to know what I'm talking about. They just reached a point where it's like, how much development time can we really spend on this map? And have we reached a point now where it's saying, cool, to keep doing this, we've now reached a point where it is actually now better time management wise to create a new map, which we don't have. And Earthling says, will this be an addition to Gateway or part of a new map? Which Dondi says, first one, then another. Oh buddy, I hope you strapped yourself in when I told you to. I hope you did, because you're probably flying through a windshield right now, if you didn't. A new map? A new map? Excuse me, what? So, obviously, let's just take everything with a grain of salt now. Has a new map been confirmed? No. Will a new map come out anytime soon? No. Are the developers looking into a new map? Maybe. This whole idea of the mangrove biome and the redwood biome obviously will be added into Gateway. We know where it's going to be in Gateway. Mangrove is probably by swamp. The redwoods probably in the dome. But this whole idea of just we have all these assets and we're talking about a map. What's Jace doing? Well, Jace is probably working on a new map with all of the lessons that we've learned from Gateway, and that gets me excited, especially as the developers have talked about in the past of there will be multiple maps. The whole idea of there will be maps based around different playstyles. So a map based more around jungle playstyles or plains playstyle or semi-aquatic based sort of environments. Where obviously the map will work for every single species of dinosaur, but it will cater towards certain environments. And that gets me so hyped. Because whatever comes out next, it could be anything. It could genuinely be anything. And I'm so here for this. This is exciting stuff. A lot of people may not find this exciting, but for me, this is something that I've been thinking about for so long with Gateway. And it's a new chapter. As Kirsten said before, it's just the beginning. And it really does feel like it is just the beginning. And I was saying it in the Rexall test where it was feeling like we were going back to that feeling back in early Spiro. It feels like there's so much bubbling under the surface if you're paying attention to what the developers are saying. And if you've been watching all these videos, you have been paying attention. And now we're starting to see some of the dominoes be laid. They're not falling yet, but they're being laid. Maybe I'm being hyperbolic. Maybe I'm just glazing too much. Let me be excited, right? This is something that I'm quite passionate about. I love stuff like this. So I want you guys to feel that infectious enthusiasm for me. Then we have the dev blog coming up soon. Dude, I'm so excited. I'm genuinely so excited. I need to save it for other videos. And then a final little bombshell to drop in. Kirsten said before in a last video actually, the idea that the R right now has a lack of things like game modes and events and all these other things in it, which people can fill the gap in for. And then straight away, Dondi starts to mention this. Mesmeret says, I remember back in the day where if you wanted to play Rex, you had to play everything else first, reference towards the progression game mode in the R. Which Dondi says, insane if we did something else that required you starting from the bottom of the ecosystem again, and then it wasn't mentioned again in the Discord. We just brushed past this, because there were so many other things. The idea of potentially getting not an exact return to progression, as Dondi went on to say that they didn't handle progression the best as they could have back then. That idea gets me excited, because what else could we add? How would these new systems go? We have an entombment system now. Potentially you have to entomb the dinosaur as a prime elder to get the next stage, for example. There's all sorts of things we could do. And that's what gets me excited. And after watching this video, I want you guys to tell me down below, what are the things that are getting you hyped? You know, what are the things that you're looking forward to? And that'll be all for now, otherwise I'll be here all day. But yeah, either ways, goodbye guys. Sleep well. Everyone.